Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Friday, December 11th, 2020. I am Fredecia Liburd. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is investigating a shooting incident which occurred in Cotton Ground on Friday, December 11th, leaving one male dead. The incident is currently under investigation. Meanwhile, another shooting incident occurred on Thursday, December 10th in Hanley's Road. The victim is male and is currently warded at the Alexandra Hospital. Persons with any information regarding either of these incidents are asked to contact their nearest police station. Following 3 days of debate, the Nevis Appropriation 2021 Ordinance 2020 was passed unanimously with no amendments at a sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly at Hamilton House on Thursday, December 10, 2020. The bill, which appropriates certain sums of money for the use of the public service of the island of Nevis for the financial year commencing January 1st, 2021 and ending on December 31st, 2021, was tabled before President of the Nevis Island Assembly, Honorable Farrell Smithen, by Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance, at the start of the sitting on December 8, 2020. It was seconded by Deputy Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. The ordinance makes provision for the sum of $237,733,300 to be paid out of the Nevis Island Consolidated Fund. The total allocated to recurrent expenditure was $174,893,300 and $62,340,000 was allocated to capital expenditure. During his presentation of the budget address, Minister Brantley spoke of the major allocations planned for the NIA's expenditure for 2021.
The major allocations in our expenditure are as follows. The Office of the Premier is allocated funding in the amount of $7.7 million, representing 3.2% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated to support the security services in our fight against criminal activity. The Ministry of Finance is allocated funding in the amount of $80.6 million, representing 33.9% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated to meet our debt servicing obligations. The Ministry of Communications and Works is allocated funding in the amount of $34.2 million, representing 14.4% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for our infrastructure development program, namely the upgrading of our road network, maintaining of government buildings, and other structures along with provisions for upgrading our water services. The Ministry of Agriculture is allocated funding in the amount of $12.6 million, representing 5.3% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for our food sustainability and security, disaster mitigation, and upgrading of our processing facilities. The Ministry of Health and Gender is allocated funding in the amount of $35.6 million, representing 15% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for providing improvements in the quality and delivery of health care, an increase in the remuneration for our nurses, along with the completion of construction work under the Alexandra Hospital expansion program. The Ministry of Education, Library Services and Information Technology is allocated funding in the amount of $34.2 million, representing 14.4% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for the delivery of quality education to our people, executing work under the CDB TVET enhancement program, and general maintenance of our educational facilities. The Ministry of Social Development, Culture, Youth and Sports is allocated funding in the amount of $16.1 million, representing 6.7% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for the delivery of our social protection agenda and improvements to our sporting facilities.
St. Kitts and Nevis's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel announced that the Federation has confirmed another imported case of COVID-19. This takes the total number of recorded cases to 26. However, 23 of the cases have officially recovered with 0 deaths. On December 9, 2020, at the COVID-19 briefing by the National Emergency Operations Center, NEOC, Dr. Laws revealed that the 26th confirmed case landed in the Federation on November 25th from USA. The individual was quarantined in Nevis and is now in isolation. Officials anticipated and extensively prepared for a rise in COVID-19 cases following the reopening of the borders to regional and international passengers on October 31st, 2020. Since then, the cases increased from 19 to 26. This is the 4th announced case since a December 5th press release from the Ministry of Health when it stated that 3 imported cases were detected. The Chief Medical Officer noted that testing continues. As of December 9th, 4,335 persons have been tested for the novel coronavirus. There are 5 results pending. Junior Minister of Health in the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, the Honorable Hazel Brandy-Williams, says despite financial constraints, the government plans to undertake several health care projects in 2021. The Junior Minister of Health unveiled the prospective projects during the 2020 budget debate in the Nevis Island Assembly on December 9, 2020. She pointed out, however, that 2021 will continue to be a challenging year financially.
Provided that funding is available, this is what we hope to see from the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs in the new year. We endeavor to start the process for a new Charlestown Health Center. We endeavor to start the process for a Charlestown Health Center. And in year 1, we are looking at consultation with the people, drawing the plans, engaging the engineers. And so we have budgeted an amount to take care of that in the first year. We'll continue to seek funding and to collaborate with any funding agencies for a state-of-the-art polyclinic in Gingerland. The proposal was done this year, and so we go to the next step to try and see if we can find funding for that facility. As I said, it is a phased approach. 1 year we do one thing, and then the second year until we get it done. We don't have unlimited financing, and so, like anything else, even in your own homes, you have to budget.
Brandy-Williams further revealed the NIA's plan to purchase a computed tomography CT scanner, which will cost approximately $1.2 million. She said in the first quarter of 2021, the government is hoping to make the initial down payment on the piece of medical equipment and has already secured the resources for that payment. The junior minister added that the Ministry of Health intends to continue on-the-job training for staff at the island's medical facilities, which include an initiative involving health professionals from large business institutions visiting local facilities to observe healthcare workers on the job. Staff from the Nevis facilities would then visit those institutions to gain experience working in fast-paced medical facilities which treat a greater variety of health issues. Minister Brandy-Williams says the new initiative is part of the rebranding of the health services to be offered at the hospital.
I know that even though all of the exam results have not been finalized yet, based on the preliminary results that we have gotten and so on, you have done exceptionally well, and you deserve a round of applause for that. I believe that throughout your lives, you're always going to remember that you were the class of 2020 graduating from the Nevis Sixth Form College. You see, in other years, it's just an ordinary year, but 2020 has been nothing if it has not been extraordinary. Everything is different in 2020. And what I want you to do is to wear 2020 like armor. So if anything happens, or if anything pops up in the future, what you can say is, hey, I was able to make it through 2020, so I should be able to make it through whatever this is.
Junior Minister of Education in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Troy Liburd, was speaking at the 2020 graduation and prize-giving ceremony of the Nevis 6th Form on Tuesday, December 8th at the Nevis Cultural Village. He then urged the graduates to keep up the good work ethics.
I would admonish you, the class of 2020, to be overcomers, but you have already proven that you are overcomers, and some, because earlier in this year, your whole school life was tossed upside down. We couldn't have classes. You couldn't attend your classes. Your classes then had to be done online, something that you were not accustomed to. Teachers had to get accustomed to being online. And so everything was thrown into a shambles, but you are here today, and that in itself has signaled that you have overcome a lot.
Junior Minister of Education in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Troy Liburd. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Freddie Liburd. Thank you for viewing.